Anyhow, I'm so thrilled to be here. This is my first time attending this huge event, and I'm so amazed about the dialogues that you bring to our Microsoft booth. And the forward-looking complexity of the questions you come to us with, curiosity, super exciting, gives so much energy, so thank you for that, and keep coming. We are here. I am the business group lead for data and AI. And that means taking care of an area that moves really fast when it comes to technology, right? You know that? These are the sort of technologies that my area spans over. And when we look at this, we are starting to think about artificial intelligence as the new electricity, being part of every solution that everybody brings to market. So it's starting to be sort of common to have AI in everything. But looking at companies in Europe, how far have they come? Microsoft, together with EY, we did an AI study, going out asking questions to 277 large European customers on how far they have come with AI and how are they thinking about adopting AI. And it's amazing. Remember that I said AI is the new electricity? But only 4% of the companies that we asked, 20 of them huge, big Swedish companies, say that they are using AI in a production sort of big way. And this is really amazing. But they do care about it. 71% of these companies think that this is a really important topic and it's on executive level. So they are going to move. But 61% of them is still in planning and pilot. And when we look at these 277 customers in Europe, 4% of them haven't done anything yet when it comes to AI. And this is where Sweden stands out. Many of you might not be Swedish, but I'm really proud of this number, being Swedish. Looking at this number, we see that the 50% is in depending on the 61 from the European companies, 50% is in planning and pilot. But the most interesting is that none is not doing anything. So everybody's doing something. So Swedish companies are moving fast. And what we also see is that 57% is believing that AI will impact a new business area that they are not in. So starting AI to build new business. And this is really where Sweden stands out. 80% of the companies thinks that the new business is where AI can have impact. And I believe that this number, the two blue dots, have a correlation. We have in Sweden come so far that we are now starting to look at AI to create new business. But going back to the planning and piloting, I said that Swedish companies are fast moving, and I'm super proud to have one of our customers with us today, Biometria, that will absolutely talk about their journey on how to move from pilot to production. So Lars, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we are in a way process of somewhere in between pilot or actively starting to use these artificial intelligence and so on. And so I am a forester. I have a PhD from Forest Products, and I've been working lots of years with the development of timber measurement in Sweden. And my very first question could be, how many of you, hands up, have any kind of connection to forestry? Will there be? Okay, there are a few hands. Fine, thank you. So, timber measurement in Sweden, I must start a little bit back in history. We have a model that we call impartial timber measurement, the Swedish model that we've been working with for more than a century. Actually, it goes back to that we were floating logs on the rivers a long time ago, and that forced us to start cooperating. This developed into timber measurement associations, and until the end of last year we had a situation with regional timber measurement associations. We had one company for data management, which is called SDC here. But what happened then from January this year, so it's very new, is that we have this has been merged into one company, so that's my Biometria company where I am working then, and this is a company that takes care of all timber measurement data for all companies, we could say, working in Sweden and making accountancy services and so on. How much should be paid for the timber? So we are sitting on really big data. We could say it's an enormous data hub for almost all measurements in terms of the timber market in Sweden, from the harvesters in the forest, the trucks taking the timber to the industries, and most importantly then, the timber measurement at the measurement stations. So all that measurement data comes to us. We perform what we call accountancy services, measurement receipts, how much should be paid to the forest owner, and that is then Biometria. So that's where we are sitting on the really big data. And we are serving then, we could say also a big industry, the forest products industry in Sweden. I guess most of you know it's a cornerstone then in Swedish economy. Biggest net income generator for Sweden, we often talk about. And then the owners, partners of Biometria that you see to the right up there, that's virtually the whole forestry sector of Sweden. So big data, big industry, and then we also have a big job in terms of measuring all the timber that goes to the industries. This is what it has been looking like for at least 50 years. There is someone standing there he does a measurement of a stack or a pile on a truck, and he's measuring the things that you see on the right there. And that is something that is done maybe 3 million times a year for 3 million such stacks on trucks. So it's a big job that has been performed like that for a long time, and I would say up till now then. So what is happening? Well, we're coming into the next big change going on right now. We started this a few years ago with introducing what we could say remote measurement of this wood coming on the trucks. So you see, here you see cameras. That is one way of putting the cameras, taking photos of a truck. This is here the truck is standing still. This is another way where a truck is moving, and you see cameras up here. And this will take over the timber measurement more or less totally, we see. Almost 50 installations, or coming close to 50 installations right now, and well, 20 million cubic meters in this year, we guess. What is then happening with the measurement? Now we have the situation where instead of standing at the measurement station outdoor at the truck, here is what the measurement is being done at the remote measurement from the Biometria office in Sundsvall. But what are they doing here? Well, it's still a manual measurement. They are clicking on the screen to try and measure these, how long are the logs and how tall is the pile and so on. So of course the question to us would be, now we have lots of photos, we have measurement data from all these, we have a big database, and the question is more or less obvious. Can the measurement be done by machine learning instead? That led us to our first application, or the first AI project. Could we use the data we have for to try and learn the system to do this automatically? So we put in, first I should say, this project, the analysis themselves, we are foresters, we don't know how to do this. So Microsoft, you recommended us a company that could help us, which is Forefront here, analysis performed by Forefront. They got data from us, in this case 150,000 images. They had also been manually measured on the screen then, as you saw from the previous image there. And some of them were also measured more in detail, what we call the check piles. So that was what was put into the AI analysis. And then it comes to, for me as a forester, I start to see or try to learn and understand what is more or less a completely new language. I say a new language for us foresters. Hidden layers, whatever, well, there come more words on the next one here. Anyway, this is a new field for us, and we need to have good partners in order to do this and to understand what is going on. So the result then for this first study we have done, well, of course we would say the AI algorithm for log length and stack height, which we were studying here, performed slightly better than the manual measurement. And this is something then that we're very, very close to implementing. You mentioned here how many % that actually come to practical implementation. This is very, very close to that we will actually use it instead of the 3 million manual measurements a year. And again, this is the way they explained it to us, something separation in nodes, different layers, identify different patterns. This is probably language which is well known for most of you, but it's something new for us. Anyway, we saw that this was a good result. We see, well, I should say something, one more thing, that it says here that it performed slightly better than manual measurements. To me, it's kind of surprising that the result is better than the input data. We could actually evaluate and see that it was better. To me, that was, how could it become even better than the input data? But that is something that happens with AI learning systems, I have been told. Fantastic, wow. So how shall we then continue with this? Well, the future, as I see it, or we see it for timber measurement, we start there and then I will broaden the perspective a bit more, is that this is a kind of a door that has been opened then to us. And measure stacks on tracks. That is what I started talking about here. And then what are we doing? Well, this is the rectangle measurement. That was what I explained about in the previous images here. That's just the start now. Well, we can implement that separately, and it will help us already by doing that. But when we take coming steps, we have the harvester data. We are weighing our tracks. We have weather data, and when we want to use the weight, how much has it been drying? We also have more advanced, actually, ways of track scanning systems that we have also been developing. What we see then is that we will combine all these kind of data, and we will try and elaborate and see how far can we come. And we are quite convinced that automatic measurement with far better accuracy and efficiency compared to our present method. So this really opens into something much better than we have had before. More about timber measurement. We measure saw logs. You know, then all the timber that goes to the sawmills, which is actually the most important for the forest owners. The most value is coming in the saw logs. That's a bit different, log by log measurement, other quality criteria, and we want to see species, defects, grades, etc. Here we haven't really started, but we can feel and understand that this will also probably be some kind of revolution for the timber measurement. So that's in terms of the measurement of more or less what we are doing today how to improve the present methods. But then to broaden the perspective a bit more, biometria in the future, timber measurement, well, it should be in a broader context. Context here is that we see that more and more efficient methods for getting data from the forest. This is practice today, scanning from planes to get more detailed information. What kind of forest is actually standing here? More or less down to tree by tree. And then we could see what kind of properties do these trees have. We can predict that also. On the other hand, here we have forest industry. I took that from the forest industry strategic document for research coming years and so on. They see that there are lots of different new forest products coming up in terms of fuels, clothes, or whatever you can do from forest products. So by putting then these data from the forest to new kind of products also, and put that into this digital system, we could say, then we come to that we say like this, that the next generation then of a forestry value chain is an integrated one where we can handle data from anyone starting with the business. They have a forest, know more about that. We have machines working with it, producing data. We have photos at measurement stations and so on, and industry data where they produce both the traditional forest products but also the new products coming. And here we have then many of these buzzwords that we are using: the data-driven forestry sector, intelligent digital value chain. We can include external data also to make even more wise decisions, and use these new tools that some of you are developing, that we will start putting them into practice. And what we're aiming at is, of course, improved competitiveness for the Swedish forestry sector. Again, a cornerstone in the Swedish economy, and maybe we can make that cornerstone even bigger and heavier by what we're doing here. And Biometria, then, our company, we want to be a part of this development, I should say that our owners tell us that we should be an important player in order to establish this. And part of it, help we get from cooperating with Microsoft, and we cooperate with the different research institutions in the country and so on. So what the example I had on the previous images here, it's maybe quite basic for you just to measure the rectangle on a stack of wood on a truck. But for us, it's really the first step into a new world, kind of new language, new world, and the possibilities that we see from the first initial test we can evaluate. It's just amazing what results we get from it. And this then with the digitalization, forestry value chain, images like this, whatever forestry magazine you open or magazine from the different forest industries, this is the first thing you see. It's up there on the top headline. Everyone is want to do this. The question is, how do we do it the best way? So that's where I will... Aha, there was one extra in between. That should be the final one.
Thank you very much, Lars.